All right, everyone, welcome back to Beyond the Trailhead. This week, we got an incredible guest once again, Luke Pearsall with Trail Goods Company, Trail Goods. And I kind of found out about Trail Goods, Luke, with you through Devin, actually, with backcountry exposure. And then I think I actually met you maybe a year or so ago at a Western Hunting Expo out of the blue. And then we were just talking before this and found out that, we know some people and stuff like that. So I wanted to have you on. We had someone else on who was doing food with Farm to Summit a few episodes ago, and thought it would be great to have you on just to kind of talk from another food perspective on creating food and all that great stuff. And every company has an amazing backstory, and I know a little
Yeah,
bit about your backstory already. But I guess let everybody know that your name, where you're from,
sure.
and what it is you do.
Yeah, I can do the quick intro. There's a very long story, but I don't think we have time for that. Um, uh, my name is Luke Pearsall, like Craig said. I am the founder of Trail Goods Company. We established ourselves in 2024, but didn't start selling till February of 2025. It took a full year to kind of develop the meals and go to production on those. Um, in 2025, we launched at the trade show that I met you at, Craig. That
Yeah.
that was the Western Hunt Expo. We have some mutual friends there. You're helping out. I had our mutual friend helping me out too, Devin Ashby from
Yeah.
Backcountry Exposure. The one thing you always find is that it's a small world once you
Yeah.
you know get into it. Um, but my background, basically, I was a commercial photographer and video producer in Los Angeles for nearly 20 years. Um, I transitioned out of that because I started working with a lot of outdoor brands. I didn't want to spend all my time traveling from LA to the places that I worked in or enjoyed
Yeah.
working in. So I made a transition to Denver about 9 years ago. And it's been great. It was kind of wonderful, but we have a very similar story. 2020 came around, like COVID made things very difficult for
Yeah.
people in production. Um, and I kind of had to start making a little bit of a shift. And I started doing some consulting for outdoor brands, just because I had done a lot of uh, I'd done a lot of gear reviews in the
Yeah.
past. That's how I know Devin Ashby, and some of those people actually thought what I had to say was worthwhile.
Yeah.
One of those was a meal company. And so in 2021, I guess I went to work with a meal company that I just won't talk about because it didn't end well. But
Yeah.
I reestablished their brand. I rebuilt, everything they had from the ground up. I was like the brand director for the company. It was pretty much like you could almost call it like Trail Goods, like beta,
Yeah.
because I did this. This will be the third iteration of me doing this. Just once it was for another brand.
Yeah.
Um, that there was a change of ownership at that place, and they eliminated my position and wanted to go focus more on other things. So, what I realized then is that if you don't make it yourself, you're not going to get to do it the way you want to do it, and B,
Yeah.
someone can always take it away from you. So
Yeah.
I decided that no one's going to be able to take it away from me anymore. I put 2 years of my life into building a multi-million-dollar brand for a big corporation,
Yeah.
and then I was out, without health insurance, just like that,
Yeah.
because someone decided. But I was a freelancer, so I know what that world's all like anyway.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, But yeah, so I found myself kind of at this precipice of like, I can either walk away from this completely or take everything I learned and kind of uh have been working for in terms of like media and food and all those things and kind of smash them all together and make Trail
Yeah.
Goods Company. And I love doing what I'm doing right now. It's like it is the perfect combination of all my skill sets that I've had through many different kind of career avenues over the years. But
Yeah.
also, like, it's fun to participate in these communities of people. Like, generally, every person that I meet is pretty awesome in this industry,
Yeah.
and that's, like, you know, that's what it's all about. I don't
Yeah.
wanna
I
sit
mean,
at a
yes.
desk the rest of my life working for someone else.
Yeah, you have so many down to earth people in the outdoor space that it's a lot better than that corporate world where everybody's trying to backstab you and stuff like that to get ahead. Especially like I know you were saying you're in the film. I think you said you worked on Lost too, right? Or
Yeah,
I
I did
read
work
that
on
you worked on
Lost.
Lost. Yeah.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
and the film industry's really moved into Atlanta here. Like this is like the new Hollywood.
Yeah.
And I have a bunch of friends that work in there, and they're like, "Man, I hate it. Like one minute someone's your friend, and next thing you know, they're backstabbing you because they're trying to get this new
Yep.
position, as the DP for this or that." And it's
Yeah.
it's an
Th-
interesting space. So yeah, I mean, we got
That
great
space
people
is
here.
a lot of like, what can you do for me? And when you can't do it for me anymore, like, were we
You're
really
Yeah,
friends to begin with?
yeah, yeah,
Uh,
exactly. That's cool. So I guess moving into the space, I mean, how did you, because it's not easy to launch into making, there's certain industries it's easier to start than others. And I think
yeah.
food can be really, really hard. I know you had experience with that other company, but now
Yeah.
moving into this, like, what were the steps that you took?
I think like the way I would put it is I sort of got my master's degree or my doctorate at the other place,
Yeah.
and I was able to kind of like figure everything out and kind of learn about the industry and the regulations in the industry and a lot of things that other small brands probably don't know or understand when they first get started. So I was able to kind of like safely transition into knowing that I could do it myself. I
Yeah.
do see a lot of like startup brands in the space that don't have that knowledge, and like quite frankly, they're making some mistakes that could get them in a lot of trouble,
Yeah.
with the government or, people that purchase their stuff or, retailers they work with, things like that. That you learn as you go, and, like, I
Yeah.
don't, knock anybody for doing it, but, like, when you're jumping into food and you're putting things into people's bodies, you have to be pretty careful,
Yeah.
with all of the checking of boxes, you know?
Yeah. I think I heard maybe it was you, someone else I had talked to in food a long time ago. They said that same thing. They're like, as soon as you put something inside of somebody, it's a
Yep.
whole other can of worms that you really got to make sure you're, like you said, checking all those boxes and being safe with
Yeah.
everything, because you don't want to put you don't want to put like a piece of steel in
No.
someone accidentally.
Well,
So
yeah, like, my meals get X-rayed, you know?
really,
Yeah, they get X-rayed before they go into
no
pouches,
way.
so no mechanized, kind of bit from a
Yeah,
machine might find its way in. But yeah,
yeah,
and that's like another thing, like, if you do it, you wouldn't know that it needs to do that, but most
yeah.
food that goes into a pouch gets X-rayed.
I literally had no idea that it got
Yeah,
X-rayed. That's cool. I
and
mean,
and
I'm
I
gonna
would say, like, not on a small level, like, if you're buying from,
yeah,
a micro brand, even though I present as a bigger brand because I
yeah,
have that
yeah,
connection, but, um, yeah, most other brands probably aren't doing an X-ray on their meals
yeah.
before they go to pouch, but,
Well,
it's
that's because
something you
you
gotta
learn from
do.
them. Yeah, you learn from that other company, and, like, I always reference back to when I did wedding photography, but we had assistants come and help
Yeah,
me shoot events, and they learned
yeah,
from it. So they learned from my mistakes, and some of them didn't even wanna go and become wedding photographers because they were like, "There's too much stress. You only got
I
one shot
agree.
at it," and they're like, "Forget it. I'll just help shoot. I'm never gonna go ahead and try my own," and some of them would start their own business, but they would learn from what, what I had taught them. So
So, I don't know how old you are, but, I worked my way through college assisting wedding photographers, so every
okay.
summer I go home my degree is I actually had a degree in, commercial photography.
Oh,
Um,
cool.
so every summer I go home, I'd work for a local wedding photographer, and
Yeah.
I'd be loading medium format film backs for him
Oh,
while we were
wow.
shooting. So, like, that was stress. He'd be banging out, photos, and I'd be, like, licking
Yeah.
medium format rolls of film, trying to store them so they don't get out of whack, like, that was
Yeah.
pressure back then. That for
Yeah.
me, because I was learning how to do more, commercial-based work, but, like,
Yeah.
that the pressure of a wedding was, like, way more intense because like, you just don't have the time, and when
Yeah.
you're shooting film and trying to, like, make sure everything's done right, you don't get to preview anything, you gotta have
Yeah.
everything right, you know?
Yeah.
That was crazy, so,
I
yeah, I
honestly don't
get
know how
that part.
anybody can do film. Every time I see like a young little hipster kind of doing
Yeah,
film, I'm just like, man, more props to you to taking that
yeah.
risk. I'll just slap a filter on my digital files and it'll make it look
It'll
just
look
like
like
film. So
exactly, man, I agree, like, I was in this unique time, so I went to the Rochester Institute of Technology, the photo
okay.
school there, And I graduated in 2004. So it was like right where the transition into like digital SLRs was
Okay. Yeah.
happening. So I like lived through that transition, and it was like it was very strange, honestly,
Yeah.
because digital cameras weren't really that good, but we knew it was headed in that direction,
Yeah.
and all we wanted to do was get away from like film grain and get away from all the things that film was, and
Yeah.
now it's like completely reverted. It's like
Yeah.
vintage,
Yeah. Exactly.
retro.
Yeah.
I'm
My
shooting on a
daughter has a
Hasselblad.
my daughter has a little point and shoot, and
Yeah,
she wanted that for Christmas, and she does like direct flash, and they love that whole trendy
yeah,
old school. They call it the old school way, and I'm like, that's when I was a teenager,
yeah.
but it's so
It's like Terry
it is so
Richardson, like on camera flash, like really
yeah,
poppy. Yeah,
yeah. Okay, so moving back to your food.
yeah. Sorry
I'm
about those.
no, I'm a rabbit trail person. I kind of go off on tangents all the time.
Yeah, yeah,
But I guess going into kind of what started the idea for you for Trail Goods itself, because I know just reading a little bit of your
Y-
backstory and stuff like that about doing through hiking and stuff like that.
yeah. I think if I could like pinpoint one of the things, it was that um, I it probably goes back to when I through hiked the Colorado Trail in 2020. I was supposed to hike the PCT, but they canceled permits or whatever they did and
Yeah,
wasn't able to do it, which was a huge disappointment.
yeah,
I don't know I'll ever have like 6 months to set aside, at least now in my life,
yeah,
to do that again. But Colorado Trail was amazing. I'd done some other like medium long trails as well. But like during that like 35 days or 40 days, whatever it took, like I lost 40 pounds. Um,
wow,
because I couldn't stomach food. Like
yeah,
it was I would try a Mountain House meal or I'd try a backpacker's pantry meal. And like I just could not eat them. I don't know what
yeah,
it was. They just were not palatable. And I ended up eating, a lot of the crap that all through hikers eat. Like ramen noodles were kind of digestible. I would like
yeah,
suck down spam singles, just to try to get some protein and salt in me. But
yeah,
like what I realized was there's a lot of people that have um meal companies or like a lot of meal, I call them legacy brands, but they exist, but no one ever put an emphasis on how they taste
yeah,
or what was really going into it. Most of those legacy brands have become about like maximizing profit because they've been
yeah,
bought by other VC or private equity, and it becomes less about the consumer like enjoying the meal
yeah,
and more about how many can we sell and how much can we decrease the price of goods inside it.
yeah,
And I just didn't think that that's the way food should be made. And truly, the pioneer, I think, for like bringing food back was Peak Refuel. I mean,
yeah,
I met the owners of Peak Refuel like 7 years ago when they were me, like
yeah,
a small booth at a small table. And they were great. And I talked to them a lot and became friendly with them over the years. And I knew that they were kind of onto something, in terms of like, hey, we're trying to make like meals that taste good,
yeah,
and truly, like that is the mantra for the whole thing. Like, I don't have
yeah,
an angle in terms of like, like I know Farmers Summit has their meals that are like sustainably and locally sourced, things like that. That's not necessarily I put high quality ingredients in, but
yeah,
for me, it's always about make a meal that people want to eat. And
yeah,
the mantra that I tell everyone that like comes to help at a show is like one taste customer, right? So
yeah,
the food has to be good enough that they taste a small little 1 ounce, bite of it, and they're like, "Ooh, I probably
yeah,
should buy one of those."
yeah,
Because if you don't have food that tastes good, people taste it and they politely leave your booth or they walk. They throw the rest in the bin and they leave. And I
yeah,
experienced that when I was hired to go do the other job at the other company because they had meals that didn't taste good. And so I witnessed firsthand the negative effect it can have. You can make a meal cheap
yeah,
and you could sell it to people that might store it for 25 years, but that's not the point of these meals to me.
yeah,
I don't want people to put them in a bin in case, the zombie apocalypse happens 20 years from now and like hope that they can save themselves from the zombies. Like,
yeah,
they have a long shelf life because of the nature of freeze drying, but
yeah,
I want people to consume them and enjoy them and take them on the
yeah,
trips. Like, that's the beauty of food, is like sharing it on a cool adventure. Like,
Yeah.
that's the thing that gets me amped up. I love talking about
Yeah.
that. Like, when I see a picture of my meal in some place that I'll never be or even get close to being, like, it makes me feel like I got there,
Yeah.
like, it's awesome.
That's such a great way to put it, is because I think you have all these people that buy, some of them, they pitch like, "Oh, it'll last for 40 years and you keep it in this tub." But really, like, you want something that tastes good. I mean, I've never kept anything longer than maybe, and I have a lot of different foods just here just because they come in from different brands who will send it in. And I I will eat them within a year, easily within a
Right.
year. But usually I go to the store on my way because sometimes I fly in and I realize, oh, I need more meals. So I grab something that tastes good. And I feel like when you go to a trade show, I don't know about you, but sometimes I have some foods and they taste good only on the trail because you're
Yep.
so hungry that everything tastes good. But then when you try it at home or you try it at a trade show, like you were saying, when you've already had normal food and now you eat
Yeah.
junky food, you're like, man, this isn't that good. But if
Yeah.
you can get it in their mouth and they go, man, I love it. I feel people need to think that, like, hey, if I like it at the trade show or when I taste it, it's gonna feel like a 5-star restaurant meal at that point. Like I'm,
Exactly. When you're
because
hungry and tired
yeah,
and, like, you don't expect something to really, like,
yeah,
taste great, and it does, yeah, it's a huge, and we say that a lot, honestly, like, amongst, like, the people in my circles. It's like, if you would eat it at home on, like, a Wednesday night, then
yeah,
it's gonna be good, like, when
yeah,
it's freeze-dried on trail,
yeah,
and we do get that a lot, at the Hunt Expo. People were like, "Man, I would eat this, like, for dinner." People would
yeah,
come up and buy them for lunch at the trade show because they're cheaper to buy a meal and go cook it than it was to buy food at the trade show,
yeah, yeah,
you
yeah,
know?
yeah.
It's
They've got like,
$22 for a
yep,
hamburger or something, but,
yep.
you can get $16 you can get or at the trade show, they're even cheaper. Um, yeah, people were just
Yeah.
like, "Could you heat up some water?" And, like, I was like, "Hey, I can't sell you, like, I can't
Yeah,
compete with the vendors here, but
yeah,
if water happened to find its way into that pouch, you could
yeah.
definitely have a cheaper meal."
That's so funny. That's a good hack. I'm gonna do that next time I go to a trade show.
For
Instead
sure.
of buying a $30 acai bowl, I'm gonna get
Yeah, yeah.
I'm gonna get a meal.
I mean, it's the way to go, honestly.
Um, I guess my next question would be then kind of going on that is, how did you get your first version of your meal? Because you don't just, I mean, I know some people know how you need to like freeze drying machines and all this stuff, but
Sure.
how would someone start even getting into making their own freeze dried meals?
Yeah, I mean, I would say the cost of entry into making freeze-dried meals is pretty high, which is
Yeah.
probably what prevents a lot of people from doing it, and there is, like, a bit of a learning curve. Harvest Right makes consumer versions. You can get them at Costco now, I think even.
Oh,
Um, they will probably, like, you're looking at like 3 to 4 grand to buy one of those machines and get started. There may
yeah.
be like a more consumer friendly version, but it's still, I don't think anything under
Yeah.
$2,000. So it's not accessible to everyone really.
Yeah.
And if you're not like serious about like food prep or whatever, I don't even know that I'd recommend it to anyone because there's
Yeah.
a lot of maintenance involved with the machines and things like that. But dehydrating is the other, way to go for a lot of people. It's way more
Yeah.
affordable. You can get a dehydrator and for a few $100, a
Yeah.
pretty good one, and start making meals that way. It is different though, I would say. So a dehydrated food won't doesn't have the shelf life that a freeze dried food has, and freeze dried food has a higher nutritional content in it that will
Oh,
sustain and
okay.
last longer. So freeze drying food, like 99% of the nutritional value is retained because you're not introducing any heat to it.
Okay.
When you dehydrate, you're heating the food again. So, it's a
Okay.
low heat, but like it dissipates some of the nutritional
Yeah.
values lost. And there's still some moisture in it when it's dehydrated, which is
Yeah.
why at best, I think with dehydrated food, and don't quote me on it, but I think it's like 2 years is about as far as you can go. And
Okay.
generally with a freeze dried food, you can get about 25 years, depending on the fat content in it.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah.
I had no idea you
Education.
lose nutrition. I love learning about these things. It makes me like, okay, next time I go on trail, I'm not gonna
Yeah.
go and dehydrate my own stuff. I'm just gonna go and because I think
Yeah.
like I watch people on YouTube. There's these through hikers and they're amazing. They like always make their own foods and stuff like
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
Can't remember
Totally.
their name, but everybody knows they even came out with a book and it was
Oh,
uh
Renee and
yeah,
Tim. Yeah, they're
yeah,
friends of
Renee,
mine.
yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So yeah, so Renee Tim, I always see them like, man, they're amazing. They make their own food. I
Yeah.
just don't have
Yeah.
that.
And
I don't
they
have that discipline.
no, and they've done it. Renee and Tim have done it, for years and years now, and
Yeah.
it's part of like kind of. I think they bond a lot doing the food, and they like
Yeah.
have little food competitions, and
Yeah.
they have their favorite meals and things like that.
Yeah.
But yeah, they're fun people. Like when it comes to trying food and doing things like that, and they're also, I believe they're plant based as well because I
Yeah.
created a plant based meal for them that I sent them, and they recently tried and enjoyed. So that was cool.
Oh, cool. Oh, awesome.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay. All right. So I guess the next question would be is maybe since when you started your business, something that was there like an oh crap moment where you're like, oh man, this is not working or
Yeah, basically every day. I mean, no, I mean, it is. When I tell you I pushed in all the chips, I pushed in all the chips. Like everything I've earned in my life
yeah.
is in trail goods right now because the cost
Wow.
of entry is very high.
Yeah.
A commercial freeze dryer like machine like have access to costs over $1 million. Um, Yeah, yeah, and they have to be specially built and,
Yeah.
it's not cheap. Um, I don't own that though. Very clear
Yeah.
there. I have to go
Yeah.
somewhere else to do that. But, like my kind of like my oh crap moment was like when you realize I went from like a pretty good paying job and a
Yeah.
career like working for in the corporate side of things, which is like very safe, to like, oh man, like this is this is literally I haven't had a paycheck in over 2 years. Um,
Yeah. Wow.
so that's oh crap every day, just been living
Yeah.
off savings and trying to get this thing to move forward.
Yeah.
It's truly a labor of love right now. And
Yeah.
you know, so my oh crap moment came last July. We had launched at the trade show at
Yeah.
Hunt Expo. Everything was going great. We had 3 or 4 great months of sales. And then I got like basically a Dear John letter from my manufacturer and freeze dryer. They out of a clear blue sky decided that they were no longer going to do freeze drying for anyone but themselves. And
Really?
they had started but didn't really let me know that they were the owners of, but they had started a
Yeah.
competing brand. Um, and I think, it didn't incentivize them at all to do the work for other competitors.
Yeah.
That's my feeling.
Yeah.
They didn't necessarily tell me that, but it's their business. They get to decide who they're producing and cooking for. So,
Yeah.
I was left really high and dry. And like I said, I had
Yeah.
everything invested into this. So I was actually out of inventory for 8 months, from July until just last week. I got my first order. So it
Oh
was
wow.
an absolute grind to
Yeah.
get back because I don't manufacture. Like I don't do small run manufacturing in terms of,
Yeah.
I mean, it's small, but not like I'm
But
not cooking it
yeah.
at home and freeze drying it at
Yeah.
home. I have a
Yeah.
very scalable model.
Yeah.
And the problem is there's very few places left in the country that can do that. Outside of the one I was
Really?
using, there might be 2 others that have
Yeah.
that potential to do that, but their minimum orders are like, you gotta do 20,000 pounds of something, and when you think, 20,000 pounds times the cost of what 20,000 pounds of food costs,
Yeah.
plus paying them to what's called toll dry, like, you're looking at to make 1 run of, like, one of these meals, $50,000 for
Wow.
1 run of meals,
Yeah.
or it varies, but
Yeah.
when the quantities are that high, it's just impossible. I don't have that kind of money.
Yeah.
Um, so, I had to work like dig and dig and dig and figure out a solution and,
Yeah.
tell myself every day there's always a solution. There's always a solution. But truly, if I'm being honest, like, and because I'm doing everything above board and trying to do everything with the USDA correctly,
Yeah.
like that's why I could not take any consolations. Like I could have gotten a commercial kitchen and just cooked stuff and tried to do it that way, but you can't sell the REI that way. They need to
Yeah.
see that you're in a SQF, which is like a certification and like a USDA facility. You
Yeah.
can't do it, you know. And if you
Wow.
don't, like, yeah. So, I knew if I was going to make this work, I had to find a way to do it above board,
Yeah.
certified everything, the way it needed to be. And I gave myself, it was November. Like I had started and stopped with like 4 different new kitchens that were, scalable and and
Yeah.
they all bailed on me, or something would happen, or they'd try to make their pricing like astronomical because my orders weren't big enough for them.
Yeah.
They're used to doing like, 1 million pounds for a brand, a big brand. But I'm
Yeah.
like, hey, it'd be great if we could do 800 pounds,
Yeah.
and
Wow.
nobody wanted the business. But
Yeah.
I call it the Trail Goods Christmas miracle. I found I was just randomly connected with a like another business owner who owns another brand, and had a USDA, certified facility. And he kind of heard part of my story and how much I had gone through, and he contacted me. He was like, "Hey, dude, my business was in the same position as you in 2022. Let me just help you." He's
Yeah.
like, "You can come here and cook in my facility for free, and
Wow, that's great.
let's just get you some inventory." He's like,
Yeah.
I'm not asking for anything." And like, truly, like, I do believe a lot in the kindness of other people, and
Yeah,
I've been
absolutely.
that person for other people. I never expect it for myself
Yeah.
because I don't know, I just don't. It's my brand, it's my burden, and it's not.
Yeah.
You know, I was about to be done. Christmas was my cutoff point. If I couldn't figure out a way by Christmas,
Yeah.
it had to be over because I need to move on and not go bankrupt,
Yeah.
trying to
Yeah.
chase a dream. Even though there's a lot of potential in it, like I wouldn't have kept doing it if there wasn't that potential.
Yeah.
But yeah, this guy just came out of the clear blue skies, better known business. He just, I'm a 100% made in America brand. I really stand by a lot of that.
Yeah.
And even my packaging doesn't come from overseas. It's made in Michigan.
Yeah.
And these are all the things that I like held me up, like I
Yeah.
could have gotten packaging made in China real
Yeah.
cheap, like
Yeah.
a tenth of the cost.
Yeah.
But I wanted my stuff to be made here. Because it's important to the people that buy these meals. I think it's
Yeah.
important to the culture of the people.
Yeah.
And myself, honestly, like I come from a lot of small town, people in my family who had small businesses and things
Yeah.
like that, and I want to support that the best I can.
Yeah.
Um, but anyway, yeah, Christmas came like the week before Christmas. I flew out, out of state to a facility, got it worked out, and like
Wow.
somehow it worked. Yeah,
That's
it was
amazing.
unbelievable. Yeah, and it was just
That's
the kindness of other people,
yeah.
truly. I
It's
had
like
48 hours to prep and cook 3,200 pounds of food. It was
holy moly.
I Yeah, so I started those 2 days. I started at 6:30 in the morning and finished at 4:30 in the morning the following day for 2 days straight. I'd go back
Gosh.
to a hotel, sleep for 2 hours, get up
Yeah.
and go back. And it was just me.
Wow.
I had no help. I mean, we're talking like 1,000 pounds of onions. You have to cut every one, peel
Oh
every
my
one.
gosh.
Yeah.
That's wild.
I mean,
I
and
need to
that's
see
just one
video of
one
that. Just
element.
all the onions everywhere.
It was just bags of onions piled up, and I just had a, stainless steel table and a, fatigue mat, and I would cut them and process them, and it was honestly, those 2 days were probably
Yeah.
2 of the hardest days, including like hard production days and things like that.
Yeah.
Those are 2 of the hardest days. It was just physically, mentally demanding. Like you didn't want to make a mistake on your recipes, and you're
Yeah.
scaling everything up to like 80-gallon kettles that you cook in. So
Oh wow.
there's a lot of math going on too.
Yeah.
And,
Yeah.
we didn't become photographers because we love math.
Yeah. You're like, "Oh, no." And you're so tired, you're like, "Oh my gosh, don't make a mistake right
So
now.
tired.
Don't
So
mess up."
tired.
When,
Uh,
no, go ahead, go ahead.
no, but that's kind of the end of the story. It kind of saved the day. And then, like there's a couple little elements to the meals that I needed to get. I had
Yeah.
had a food rep who just went bonkers and never ordered the food and like
Yeah.
didn't exist, got fired. So like I had to freeze dry 90% of the food, but I was waiting for 2 ingredients that didn't need to be cooked,
Yeah.
but they never came, and it was just like an absolute mess. And literally the day before the Hunt
Yeah.
Expo started, I got a pallet dropped off in my front yard while I was sitting there with a Sprinter van with open doors, just waiting to throw it in and drive to
Oh my
Salt Lake City.
gosh.
So it came down to the wire. And if if we're telling the
Yeah.
story of trail goods,
Yeah.
8 months without revenue, by the time I was driving to Salt Lake City, I had $575 left in the bank account for trail goods.
Holy cow.
Yeah, I had enough for
Wow.
gas, and if something happened, like a
Yeah.
little, but that's it. I had put all the money that was earned into the production, and had to overnight or 2 day like freight
Yeah.
ship, to my house, and that was it. I had nothing left.
Yeah.
Um, but
Man,
that's what
I
happens
never
when you
thought
bootstrap a business.
I just never thought it would be an inventory issue, because I think people don't
That's all it
realize it's,
was.
it's like it's literally like I don't have anything to sell. Like when you watch, I reference Shark Tank probably every episode that we talk
Yeah,
with
yeah.
people, but
Well, it's
you know,
very
it,
applicable.
yeah, I mean, with inventory, they're like, well, I don't have any inventory, so I can't grow. And I know when I tasted your meals at that trade show, I was like, if people who are listening right now, you need to try Trail Goods, and I'm not just blowing smoke because there's
Appreciate it.
so many meals that, and even when you're telling the story about the kitchen, I always think, especially years ago, I would always think it was just a big machine that's making all these foods. You would never think that there's a person behind it. I mean, there's a person behind it to some extent, but you would not think it's Luke right there making the
Yeah,
food, freeze drying it, and everything else. It always just looks like there's these packages, this big factory,
yeah,
and everything else is pumping it out and
yeah.
stuff like that.
I know. I think
So,
that too. Sometimes I'm like, I can't believe, I was at the trade show and I was like, I touched every single bit of everything
yeah,
that's in this, all
yeah,
these pouches, this truckload full of food. I
yeah,
cut every carrot, every, vegetable in there. Like it's
yeah,
all me. Like,
yeah,
and when people would come down from Peak Refuel to my booth, now Peak Refuel had like 100 foot by 40 foot
yeah,
booth and
yeah.
like 20 employees. And then I was down at my little 10 by 10 with my girlfriend who, is a nurse, but was able to get the time off to help me.
Yeah,
Um, they would say, well, how do you stand apart from Peak Refuel? I said, go
yeah,
down to Peak Refuel and find the person that cooked the meal.
yeah. No, that's great. That's you know, that's epic. So I guess now that we're talking about the trade show, I think we were talking about it a little earlier, and we kind of held off on talking a little bit
Yeah.
more. But I've been to a lot of trade shows, and a lot of companies that are listening right now, or people that are listening, they see a trade show and they're like, "Oh, I want to go and do a trade show." And a lot of times, it depends, of course, on what part of the industry you're in. But you were saying something great about with food and having to taste this stuff. So tell me a little bit about like a typical trade show for you and the
Yeah.
cost that's involved.
Yeah, I mean, I think what people like in the food industry, particularly like the type of meals I make and others, also make, is that we have to sample food. So,
Yeah.
in order to sample food, you have a lot more hoops you got to jump through, a lot more costs associated with that. For instance, in order to sample food in Utah, I had to take a course, a Utah food handler, and get a Utah food handler's permit. So I have that paperwork I have to fill out and do that. So that was it
Ah,
wasn't very long. It wasn't, but you have to pay for it and you have to
yeah,
take the time to do it and you have to have that documentation there. Then, other brands show up to trade shows and they just talk to people. We have
yeah,
to bring all the equipment to both be sanitary and cook meals and sample them. So, for instance, the last trade show I was telling you earlier, but like I sampled about $6,000 worth of food out of my pocket,
wow,
which is insane because,
yeah,
like I said, I had $575 in my bank account when I went there. So to be giving out $6,000 worth of food, which is, pouches of meals I could have generated revenue with, it was crazy. But, truly what you are doing in that instance is you are generating revenue. It's just not revenue right in that moment. Some
yeah,
of it is,
yeah,
but if people don't try your food, they're never gonna know if they like it or not. And
yeah,
you know, if I'm being honest too, freeze dried meals are cheap because they're expensive to make, and if you start to put good quality ingredients in them, they get a little bit pricier.
yeah,
That being said, I do think they're worth it because you're not going to get a meal like that. I don't care if you bring a pack of ramen noodles and whatever out there. It's not going to taste the way a fully cooked meal will taste. But yeah, it's an investment, and people aren't going to, you know, take a chance on a $17 meal if they haven't tried it. So that's why
Yeah.
sampling is so important. But
Yeah.
so this small brand, Trail Goods Company, is absorbing like so much more cost at a trade
Yeah.
show than any other brand. Like you might just, if you have a hard good item, people can touch it or feel it or try it
Yeah.
on, but we have to give it away.
Yeah.
So it becomes astronomically expensive when you consider travel, the time it takes to be there, having help you out, rental vans, storage of inventory, it adds up
Yeah.
quite quickly. So you have to really be careful with the trade show kind of thing, and not you could spend way more than you make at one of those very easily. So you have to weigh kind of the options of
Yeah.
is the juice worth the squeeze?
Yeah. When you do that, like I know with trade shows, you have the ability to let people sample, but how do businesses like yours help with people sampling foods when they buy it online? Like I guess you would just sell a multi-pack, or how do you kind of push
Yeah,
your
it's
consumers to do that?
that's kind of like we have like the true sample pack, which is I only have 4 SKUs. So, you get a little bit of a discount, try all four. And I think it helps, I think people are willing to do that, especially with a new brand.
Yeah.
Then they find the one they like, and if are multiple that they like, and if they don't like one of them, then they can go back and buy single pouches, the ones they like, and admit the
Yeah.
ones that they don't really love. So,
Yeah.
um, and that's honestly that's been one of the most eye-opening things about all of this too, is that in your mind you made 4 meals that are awesome and you like
Yeah.
everyone. Otherwise, you wouldn't have brought them to market. But not
Yeah.
everybody likes all the things you like.
Yeah.
And so people would come up to your face at a trade show and be like, I wish that was a little spicier. And you're like, okay, thank you.
Yeah.
Appreciate the input. You
Yeah.
know. Everyone's got different tastes, and
Yeah.
that's been the hard part for me, honestly, because they're like your children. You put so much
Oh
time,
yeah, you
love,
put
and
your
effort
heart and
into them.
soul. I think
Yeah,
every cook is like so passionate. I shoot for a restaurant that's here just outside of Atlanta.
yeah,
Is a friend of mine owns this restaurant, and he's so passionate about cooking. I didn't even know he he was going to open a restaurant, and he just all of a sudden opened a restaurant. And we go in there,
yeah,
he's just so passionate about food. And like you can tell when someone looks at the food a little bit, he's like, "Oh, that's my." When you see someone put
mhm,
salt on
yeah,
your food or ketchup
yeah,
on something you just
yeah,
made, you're
yeah.
like,
It breaks your heart because you
yeah,
you did the best you could to make it like
yeah,
what you thought is the optimal. Like you have to find like this sweet spot for people, like not too
yeah,
spicy, but not too bland. Like
yeah,
I don't want to be bland. I mean, that is to me the most insulting term,
yeah,
like that you could get with a freeze dried meal, bland, because there's like I don't know, there's kind of no excuse to be bland, you know?
yeah,
And flavor doesn't have to come from salt either. Like
yeah.
salt is definitely like a flavor enhancer, and naturally a lot of food does have high sodium, which is why freeze-dried meals generally are pretty high in sodium.
Okay.
But like if you use herbs and you use spices, like you can create flavors
Yeah.
that aren't loaded with sodium.
Yeah.
I think people used to maybe be a little bit more afraid of like outside the box flavors and spices, but in today's like gastronomic world, like people are way open to like
Oh, yeah.
trying new things.
Yeah.
I
Oh,
think
yeah. Think about the food.
globally,
Food a long time ago, it was always just, biscuits and gravy, and
that's it.
then, like, a beef stew, and then maybe
Yeah.
some chicken thing, and that was it. And
Yeah.
now, like, there's just so many. I think that's what, people have to look at too is, I'm sure there's brands out there that are like, "Oh, I'm just all about myself," when it comes to the food industry, but I think
Yeah.
you can't compete with everybody. You just have to be friends because everybody has, 1, a different palate, 2, I mean, they can only eat so much of one
Beef
type of meal all the
stroganoff.
time. Yeah, there's only so much beef stroganoff you can eat, so you do need to go, "Okay, I'm gonna eat this version, I'm gonna go to this brand, I'm gonna eat this version,
Yeah.
I'm gonna go back to my favorite brand because I have a few favorite meals that I always go to that I'm like, "Okay, I know that on day 1, I'm gonna eat this. I'm gonna bring something
Mhm.
different on the trail for this day.
Yep.
Tomorrow I'm going hiking with my wife for our 20th anniversary."
Nice.
And she was like, "We're gonna hike 20 miles for the 20 years we've been married." And I
All
was like,
right.
"Are you sure?" I was like, "You sure?" Because I okay, because I was just gonna take you out to a really nice
Yeah.
restaurant. We're gonna go to
Yeah.
a trip
Yeah.
overseas later. But I was like, okay. So I asked her like, "What meals do you want?" And so, because I said, "Okay, on the trail we can do some freeze dried meals, and we'll do some coffee and stuff like that." So she told me her favorite meal. I'm gonna bring my favorite meal halfway through the trek. We'll do that. But I think it's key is that like you're saying like you're talking about other brands because they have other foods and everybody has different tastes, different palates, different things that they want to eat.
Yeah, and that's, like, a really good point, honestly, and something I talk about a lot, like, at the trade shows and to people
Yeah,
that are asking questions is I don't ever a lot of other brands take the kind of the mindset, like, "We're gonna do our, biscuits and gravy, and they're gonna be amazing." They
yeah,
might be, but you're selling against Mountain House Biscuits and Gravy,
yeah,
you're selling against, like, all these other brands that already
yeah,
have, like, pretty decent biscuits and
yeah.
gravy, so how are you gonna sell into another retailer if you're just giving them another version of the same meal that they already have 4 of sitting on their
Exactly.
shelves? So, like, when you think I do have a bit of a business background, so, like, when you think about that in terms of sell-in, that doesn't really make sense. Like,
Yeah,
why would I sell my beef stroganoff, which every single brand has a beef stroganoff?
yeah.
Who eats beef stroganoff normally at home, by the way? Like, not very many people.
I've never
But
ever made
apparently
beef
when you get
stroganoff at home.
right, right. But somehow beef stroganoff is in everyone's, pantry,
Yeah,
when they're in the backcountry. But, no, truly, like, I don't ever wanna create a meal that is, a copycat or version of another brand's meal, like,
yeah,
if I can avoid it. I know, like,
yeah,
sometimes you might become adjacent, but that's what makes us stand apart is, like,
yeah,
I am I'm assuming, that I am the only brand that uses a real Chinese restaurant noodle in my noodle bowls, like,
yeah,
I source them from the place that Chinese restaurants get their noodles from, and it's like a
yeah,
noodle maker somewhere in the Pacific Northwest,
yeah,
you know, and it's unique. It makes the
yeah,
meal unique because it's not your run of the mill, like, instant, uh, I don't ramen noodle,
yeah.
It's
No,
not at all.
exactly.
It's
Yeah.
much more expensive, but
But it tastes way
astronomically.
better. Yeah.
Yeah, it tastes way better,
It it's funny that you say that too, because I always have this when I was doing trade shows for and even when I have clients call us, whether it's weddings or, photo shoots for outdoor gear and everything else, I always tell them, I'm like, "Hey, listen, whether you hire me or somebody else, here's some tips on looking for photographers that are gonna get it or videographers that are gonna get it right for you." And I'm trying to educate them. In some way, I am educating them to say, "Hey, these are the things to look for." I'm really describing myself, so
Yeah,
end up
yeah.
hiring
Yep.
me.
Yeah.
But I also am like, "Hey, I don't want you to ruin, for example, your wedding day. So if you can't afford me for your wedding day, here's some tips so that you get the best on that big day." For food, it's like, "Hey, there's tips on food so that you can enjoy your meal." So in the end, you're kind of describing other meals, wanting people to get yours, but you also want them to enjoy it, enjoy their experience. Because I mean, even in the outdoors, I mean, a lot of people only go for a night or two, and if they're not going to enjoy their evening of
That's
eating
it.
their meal, they're not going to stay in the outdoors, and then now you've kind of ruined that experience because whether it's the weather or mosquitoes or whatever, everybody remembers what they ate. You know? So,
Yeah. If you ever hiked really far, that's all you think about is like, what am I gonna eat
yeah.
at the end of the day? What am I gonna
Yes.
sit down and eat? Like, this is awesome. Like
Yeah.
you start dreaming about hamburgers.
All right, so kind of shifting gears a little bit, maybe, what's something, that you've changed your mind about since launching your company?
Huh. That's okay. I have something kind of that I've thought about a lot.
Yeah.
Originally I was like so focused on um creating like having the macros be the highest calorie, highest protein, and they're very high. I don't think
Yeah.
that they're high, but
Yeah.
like there's a moment when you're making food where it doesn't make sense to just add something in there to get the macros to where it needs to
Yeah.
be because then you're throwing off like the flavor balance of things and like yes, I want high protein and I want high calories, but I, I'm not willing to sacrifice. the flavor of the meal like I probably would have been like 3 years ago
Yeah.
to say like we have the highest calorie, highest protein. Like there is a happy medium there that anyone should be happy with.
Yeah.
You know, still high, still really like really high calories, really high protein, but like it doesn't have yes, I don't have to win at that game. I have to win at the
Yeah.
flavor game. And
Yeah.
if you're winning at flavor and taste, then you don't really have to win at that protein level or that
Yeah.
calorie level. And like I said, you have to be competitive because people look at those macros. But
Yeah.
there's a point where it just becomes ridiculous. It's like, do I want to add more calories? So I add like 10 more grams of rice to a meal. And then it just
Yeah.
becomes like the rice, you don't have enough sauce for the rice, and then like the meal tastes bland, you
Yeah.
know.
No, that's a
So
great. Yeah.
there's a happy medium.
I think as you get more experience, hiking and everything, when people start out, it's just like when you have especially long distance hikers, right? If it's their first long distance hike, I live right near the Appalachian Trail. I'm actually going there on Friday to just kind of
Nice.
meet people who are starting their trek and just ask them some Q&A.
Sure.
And um, when they start out, and if this is their first one, they've got all kinds of stuff that they thought they needed. They think they need 15,000 calories in one meal,
Yeah. Yeah.
and all this stuff, and they realize you just can't eat that much,
No.
in one
You
sitting.
don't
You
even
just you
have
Yeah.
like hiker hunger doesn't really even kick in for like weeks, you know?
Yes. Yeah.
Like you can eat normally for quite a while before you're
Yeah.
like, all right, I'll have two entrees every time I sit down. But
Yep.
yeah, you know, it's and I apologize for jumping on top of you there.
No, you're
But
good.
yeah, that's you're dead on. You don't need to be like, I have to have 3,000 calories per meal. Like you need the calories
Yeah.
for sure. You're exerting a
Yeah.
lot of energy, but like, I don't know, like there's a point of obsession for some people, just like they get obsessed with the weight in their pack, you know,
Yeah.
um, where like I'm not going to notice personally like
Yeah.
an 8 ounce difference or a 10 ounce difference in
Yeah.
my pack weight. You know, I think it's cool. I'm like a gram weenie too. I'll take my
Yeah.
scale out and measure everything. But
Yeah.
ultimately, like I weigh 250 pounds. What's 8 ounces gonna
Yeah.
do
What's
to
8
me?
ounces?
Nothing.
Yeah.
You know, I'll
It's
drink that in
like,
water in a sip.
yeah. It's the whole pillow thing. Like, I have to have a good pillow. I tried to do the, like, ultralight thing that was just, like, super, super sucky. It's just
Yeah,
like a
yeah,
balloon, and
yeah,
I was like, "Forget it." So I was like, I got a Zenbivy pillow that's, like,
yeah,
inflatable, and I can adjust it, and it's got the pillow
yeah.
top, and I'm like, "Oh my gosh, I sleep so much better." Same with food. It's like, I need good food to enjoy it because you just at the end of the day, when you sit there and you see the sun setting and you're eating, I mean, it makes the whole
Oh,
day.
I mean, I've had plenty of those experiences where I'm diving into a meal with a white package, and I just go, oh, like I gotta eat the rest of this, Carl.
Yeah.
Otherwise, I have to carry it out. You know.
Yeah.
That's nothing worse than cooking something you gotta carry out because you couldn't
Yes.
stomach it, you know?
I'm, like, getting my trowel out. I'm like, "Okay, I guess I'm burying
Yeah.
half of this right now."
Yeah. Yeah, yeah, pre-dig a hole for the morning, you
Yeah.
know?
Alright, so maybe can you tell us, like, maybe a customer story or review that really hits you hard? And it can be negative or positive, but just, something, you know
Yeah, you know, one thing I would say is, um, I kinda have two little things. One is kinda specific, and I'll try to be, like,
Yeah.
as non-specific as I can be, but, last summer, right when we were about to run into, like, our 0 inventory,
Yeah.
we had we did a trade show in Oregon, um, or like an expo, I would say, and someone bought a meal there, and our zipper on the pouch, the manufacturer didn't seal them well enough, so when
Yeah.
the hot water hit the pouch, it would unglue the zipper, so people were having a hard time, like, re-zippering
Okay.
it when they open it up, and peel away. That's been, since, addressed and but,
Yeah.
that's not a flaw that of the meal, but it became a flaw of the company, right? Like
Yeah.
I hired that person to do it for me. It was unfortunate. And
Yeah.
for, not only was I ran out of inventory, I was also getting like maybe half dozen negative reviews
Yeah.
based on the packaging, not the food inside of it.
Yeah.
So that like really negatively affected me. Um, because there's nothing I could have done to alleviate that. And I can't take those meals out of a pouch and repouch them. It's not how food
Yeah.
works,
Yeah.
Luckily it wasn't like a huge deal. I know some people, you know, through hikers and backpackers are like pretty handy people. Like you could
Yeah.
turn a stick into a spoon, like
Yeah.
you could figure out how to close a package.
Yes,
Um,
exactly.
but like, for the handful of people that it was, not convenient for, I felt really bad about it. And I felt really bad, honestly, for myself. I had everything I owned in this, and someone made
Yeah.
a mistake that wasn't on me.
Yeah.
Um, so there was one person in particular that had a hard time with it, and I said, "Let me make it right to you. Like as soon as I have new inventory, I'll make it right." And um, it took me 8 months to make it right. And
Yeah.
around month 6, I saw that person like trash talking me on an online forum,
Yeah.
being like, "Don't buy from these guys. The owner, said he'd make it right." And like, I had to have a long conversation, be like, "Listen,
Yeah.
I literally don't have
Yeah.
the inventory. Like, I am gonna go broke here,
Yeah.
but like, I fully intend to like make it up to you."
Yeah.
Um, and he was like, "Well, I see people posting, you know, uh, you're posting content on your social media, and people are posting about it." I'm like, "Yeah, because those are meals that were bought and people
Yeah.
have had, and they're using them. Like
Yeah.
it's not. I'm not selling anything new. I mean,
Yeah.
I could show you my Shopify store. There's zeros across the
Yeah.
board. And like I'm pretty proud that like I remember that guy's name. I
Yeah.
wrote his name down, and on Thursday he's gonna get a package,
Yeah.
making it right. And I
Yeah.
think that's
That's cool.
the best part about like all outdoor brands is that they generally make it right. And
Yes.
I want to be a brand that does make it right. Like, sure, it wasn't my fault, but it's my company. And his
Yeah.
user experience wasn't a good one.
Yeah.
Regardless of what he said about me online or, on the forum that he was kind of trash talking my brand,
Yeah.
it's still my responsibility to make it right. And,
Yeah.
I hope that he has a good experience this time, and maybe we get him back as a customer and he buys something
Yeah.
in the future. But yeah, you have to kind of eat some of that sometimes. And
Yeah.
it happens more often than not, honestly. That like there's some little like a package doesn't get delivered to someone's house
Yeah.
and it just disappeared. And then you as the business have to replace that package and
Yeah.
pay for the postage and pay for the product that's in it. It happens, and it stinks because it's just dead money. But
Yeah.
making it right, it's always what I'm gonna try to do if I can,
Yeah. That's cool. I mean, that's it takes a lot of you have to humble yourself when you run a business, and it
Mhm.
can be hard when it's your baby and you have that
Yeah.
pride. Like, I mean, I know my kids get in trouble. I'm like, my kids are perfect. What are you talking
Yeah,
about?
yeah, yeah.
And then I
They would
gotta
have
have
never
to
done it.
go, oh, they did do it. Okay. You need to
Yeah.
apologize to the
Yeah.
teacher. You apologize to the
Yeah.
people and everything, but it
Yeah.
takes it hurts. So
Yeah.
well, I mean, I really appreciate these stories that you're telling because I feel like the more open people are who are, run businesses and stuff, I think the better we all are gonna grow and in our businesses, you know what I mean?
I agree. Like if I were to sit here and pretend that I knew everything about running a business, because I've done it for even from on like a
Yeah.
production company to a
Yeah.
food business and ran a business for someone else, like I'd be lying to you. Every day is like a new wild adventure when the mail
Yeah.
comes, or like you get an email and you're like, "Oh no, like I got to do this now." Like what?
Yeah.
I didn't even know I had to do that.
Yeah.
Um, and luckily I do have a lot of experience kind of having a business, but it's a wild ride every single day. I'll tell you that
Yeah.
much. I'm sure you
Yeah.
experience that in your business. It's just you've been doing it for a long time, I'm sure. And
Yeah.
I'm sure curveballs come your way and you're like, man, never thought that one was going to happen, but it certainly did.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I'm even right now, I've been waiting on a product from a company, and it wasn't anything other than just, the plastics were off on the color and stuff like that, and so I had planned and worked out all these shoot locations with all these different places that were so hard to get them to let me shoot in like our giant rock quarry is so hard because they run 24/7.
Yep.
And I just got the product in and now I'm calling those companies back and being like, okay, so now I finally got it. I know it was a year ago. I know I said I was going to do it in like a month when we talked, and I know I kept up, but is there still, and I'm just waiting to hear back, and I'm getting people saying no now. So I'm like trying to now, that's why I'm going to Mount Rainier is
Cool.
I was supposed to have it for a trip that I had last year in like August, September.
I know
And
that game so well.
I didn't have it. And I was like, man, so
Yep.
now I was gonna just do the shoot in Georgia here. And I was like, you know what? I have a buddy of mine who's an ex-Marine who's got this cool beard and everything else. I was like,
Yeah.
I've got to just suck it up and go. I mean, suck it up. It's gonna be a fun trip, of course,
Yeah, it'd be awesome.
but I've got to leave my kids for another five
Yeah.
days, and my wife's got to stay here. When she usually she helps me,
Yeah.
and it's gonna be freezing. And my hands are,
Yeah.
I know it's gonna be suffering. It's gonna be fun, but my hands are gonna be
Yeah.
numb. Everything's gonna hurt, and but it's gonna be amazing. I had to kind of suck it up and go, yeah, I'm gonna waste my time, and I'm gonna be wasting a bunch of money. It's gonna cut into my profits from what I quoted them. But I'm just gonna go ahead and figure it out. So no, I agree. It's you got to just go low
Put
sometimes.
put some hand warmers in your with your batteries.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
keep them warm so they don't drain.
Okay.
Yeah.
I got some hand warmers, and I even have some battery low sipping battery warmers that I
Okay.
sometimes will put in. But
Okay.
I didn't even think about that because it's going to be on the
Yeah, I would.
mountain. I think where I'm going to be, it's like 20, 22 degrees.
Yeah, I always take a couple hand warmers and like throw them in like not right next to the bag, but it keeps the
Yeah.
bag warm.
Yeah.
You know,
Okay.
you just don't want your glass to get warm because then it'll fog up.
Yeah.
Obviously,
Yeah. Um,
it's
okay. So
helpful.
I got two more questions for you.
Gotcha.
One is it's just a fun question, and then the last one's a very serious question. It won't take too long. But what's the weirdest, most unexpected place that you've seen your product?
Ooh, that's a good question. Um, someone had sent me a photo from a sailboat in the Caribbean. That was kind of interesting. You know, they're like,
That's
it
wild.
makes a lot of sense when you think about
Yeah.
it. Like, you don't have to refrigerate them. You just add hot water, and like
Yeah.
the whole market I never thought about is these
Yeah.
sailing folks.
That's a great idea.
They live on a boat, and they were like, we eat your locomoco all the time. You know,
That's wild.
yeah. So
Um,
that was kind of cool.
all right, and then my last question is, as someone else at the trailhead at the start of their business, what's one piece of advice you could, give for somebody who's, starting a business, starting something in the outdoor space, whether it's food or whatever, one piece of advice you could give them?
I have a couple little like notes. I guess this would be.
Yeah.
Um, with any business, and you know this too, like you have to stay organized, and you have to like really do the things to set yourself up for success long term. And it'll feel very painful in the beginning to do something like I hired a bookkeeper right off the bat. I was like,
Yeah.
I know there's gonna be a lot of expenses. I know that like some of this is out of my realm of understanding because we had a whole accounting department at my last business. So I
Yeah.
hired a bookkeeper, and to me it's expensive. It's $350 a month, but
Yeah.
it's invaluable. Like
Yep.
I get P&Ls at the end of the every month. I can see where my money went. Like it's all accounted for. Um, I think things like that, like, and because you can very quickly get behind on things like that and underwater if you're just
Yeah.
not, let a professional do the things that you don't know how to do. It
Yeah.
might feel cheaper to like do it yourself, and I do think like it's important to learn how to do the things that you hire other people to do, but that's definitely one of them. Um,
Yeah.
and the other thing, like, something you gotta realize when you start a business in the outdoor space is you get to spend less time outdoors, which
Yeah.
stinks. Like, and I know that has an outdoor brand, which I know many, will say, like, the more heavily involved you get in your outdoor brand, the less time you spend outdoors.
Yeah.
And it's a bummer, and I hope, like, I haven't been backpacking in over a year,
Yeah.
because last summer I was fighting for my life, and I
Yeah.
just couldn't justify, taking the time off when I was treading water to,
Yeah.
um, go enjoy the thing that I love the most, honestly.
Yeah.
Um, but hopefully as the waters are kind of calming down, I'll be able to
Yeah.
exercise that right to get outside
Yeah.
again and feed people.
Yeah.
I don't know. And like, do you know who Jeff Carmeyer is?
I think I call him Jeff Garmier, but I
Oh,
think he's the
Garmeyer.
same
Yeah,
guy.
yeah.
Okay,
Yeah,
yeah.
he just did the Appalachian Trail FKT last summer.
Yes. Okay, yeah, yeah,
So Jeff is my best friend. He's so I have a
no
little
way.
insight to I have a
Yeah,
little insight to like some people who put massive miles and he's well over 40,000 miles hiked in his life. Um and together because we've both been like outdoor industry adjacent, he has
yeah,
somehow found a way to stay outside and doing things, but we have a lot of laughs about how I'm like, the director of indoor pursuits now and things like that.
yeah.
You know?
That's
Uh,
so funny.
yeah,
I saw that whole thing where he did the FKT, and I was like, I showed my wife, and she couldn't believe how quickly he did it, and I was
yeah.
like, yeah. I was like, I don't
45
know.
days.
I mean, that's insane. I can't remember
Yeah.
exactly how many miles a day he was doing, but
It was self-supported too. He didn't have anyone help him.
that's insane.
He'd mail himself boxes. He'd have to show up in towns on time because he couldn't wait an
Yeah,
extra day for food. The food wasn't there on time. He'd have to keep moving. It's an insane story.
yeah,
And I know he's done some podcasts about it, but like
yeah,
he's an incredible human being. He's like a massive inspiration to me always.
yeah,
We met in 2020 and just clicked because we're both super weird.
yeah,
And for his birthday, I had to go rim to rim to rim in the
yeah.
Grand Canyon. And there was a point where I was like, dude, you just got to go. Cause like, it's annoying.
Yeah,
I'm gassed. I just did the Colorado Trail and I was in good shape. And
yeah.
I was like, do you think you could run to the top of this? And he's like, oh yeah, definitely. He's like, I could run up and come back down if you want.
Jeez,
Like, yeah,
he's a
insane.
maniac. That's
Yeah. He
crazy.
hiked down
They
a
need a
full
movie on it.
chocolate cake. Yeah.
What?
The Colorado Trail movie is sweet that he did.
Really? Oh, I gotta watch it. I feel like
Yeah.
I watch so much YouTube and so
Yep.
many like trail videos and all these things. I
Yeah.
probably saw it, but a lot of times while I'm editing
Yep.
photos and stuff like that, I'll have on the side of the screen something playing, so I don't necessarily pay full attention to
Yeah.
it. Um,
It's called Free Outside is the Colorado Trail FKT. He did the Colorado
okay.
Trail 9 days, which is insane. We did it in the same year. I did it in like 40. He did it in 9. So
I'm
it's
going
like the
back.
slowest hiker versus the fastest hiker in the world.
I'm going back to the Colorado Trail to do another section of like
Nice.
100 miles of it this
Cool.
summer with some friends. Um, so that'll be cool. Maybe I'll bump into you then. 'Cause
Yeah,
I
for
think I
sure.
fly
Definitely look me
into
up.
Denver, I think. I always forget where I fly into. I end up getting on an airplane and not knowing where I am. I'm just
Oh yeah. No,
following the flow.
you'd have to fly into Denver, I would imagine, depending on what section.
Um, well, awesome. Well, I appreciate all the stories, especially. I mean, I'm a story guy, so the more stories people
Yeah.
can tell, I feel like the more we learn and the more we just. I mean, funny stories. As you get older, you just tell like funny stories all the time as
Oh
you sit
yeah.
around.
I mean,
So
I just feel like I'm consistently stumbling my way through life, and somehow I made a great adventure of it.
yeah,
So
yeah.
hopefully,
Well,
Trail Goods will be the next big adventure that happens.
yeah, absolutely. Okay, so I'm gonna into our rapid fire round real quick. These are just a couple of
Sure.
quick questions for you to answer, and then we'll just get all the info for where people can find trail goods. So,
Yeah.
first question is coffee or electrolytes on the trail?
Oh, I'd say electrolytes. I actually love coffee, and I sell coffee. Trail Goods has like a
Yeah,
really great instant coffee,
yeah.
which I probably should be saying coffee, but like coffee can also jack me up in a way that I
Yeah.
do not want. It's
Next
like
one is
you're having a diuretic versus something that
yeah.
actually hydrates you. So
Yeah, I feel like when I drink coffee, I have one. I have one every morning, and I used to have like 8 cups of coffee when I worked in the corporate environment because I would just be like trying to stay awake at a desk job. And now that
yeah,
I'm active, I don't even really need coffee. It's more like just the
yeah,
flavor and the tradition of sitting there and
yeah.
drinking
It
a
is.
coffee
It's a
while I'm reading.
ritual thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a ritual. I love the ritual of coffee.
All right. Next question. What's your favorite national park?
Oh, that's a tough one. Um, I'm gonna go like I think I'm gonna go with what I think is maybe an underrated national park,
Okay.
if that works for you.
Yeah.
Because everyone can say like the big ones like
Yeah.
Glacier and
Yeah.
Tetons and like a lot of curb appeal parks.
Yeah.
Um, I think like Badlands National Park is actually like pretty cool.
Okay.
Yeah, in South Dakota. Like it's cool, and people I think just like think that the Dakotas are like a pass through state on your way to
Yeah.
Montana to get to
Yeah.
the big mountains, but like Badlands is pretty cool.
Yeah. I gotta check it out then. Oh, I know
Also,
a little bit
Gates of
about
the
Badlands,
Arctic.
but Gates of the Arctic?
Gates of the Arctic's cool. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. In Alaska, Kenai Peninsula.
All right. Next is solo hike or crew mission.
I'm a solo hike guy. Like
Yeah.
so I had this like weird mental block about like having someone waiting for me because I'm a slow hiker, or like me waiting for someone. Like I don't
Yeah.
want to ever dictate what I'm doing based on someone else or me, you know, thinking like I'm slowing the group down,
Yeah.
or the group's waiting for me, or
Yeah.
I'm waiting for the group. Like I just want to, I'll get there. Like I think it's kind of a hybrid. Like I love having a trail family that I know where they're going to be at the end of the day,
Yeah.
and maybe I'll see them when they're taking a break for lunch, and
Yeah.
they'll just smoke me down the trail again, and then I'll see them when they're all set up. I mean, that was the story of my Colorado Trail. I had to wake.
Yeah.
I ended up, connecting with this group of like I was in my late 30s. I was 39, and I connected with these like late 20-year-olds who could just absolutely crush.
Yeah.
They're triple crowners basically,
Yeah.
and I would have to wake up an hour early and finish an hour later than them to keep up with their pace. But it was fun. They're
Yeah.
good dudes.
They keep going. Anytime I meet these crazy, I would love to, of course. I think we'd all love to just take time off and do some super long trail, but they're
Yeah.
so fast. They just have no
And like I said, like
no pain in them.
I'm best friends with like one of the world's
Yeah.
fastest hikers. So yeah. See you at the end of the
All
day,
right.
bud.
All right. Next question. Worst trail snack you've ever tried?
I think anything that like all right, this is probably gonna upset a lot of people, but I cannot do tuna on a trail. Hot
Ugh.
tuna is just bleh.
Yeah.
Like people that put the tuna packets in their pack and they're just like mowing down sun warm tuna. Ugh.
Sun-baked, nasty.
Ugh.
Yep.
On a tortilla, just warm fish. Ugh, no.
I feel like
That's
I'm
it. That's
gagging
it for me.
already.
Yeah. Some people
So
love
I
it
guess
and it's good protein, but
no, I used to eat it all the time when I would work out. I'd just make a tuna sandwich, but I tried that one time on the trail, tuna, and I
yeah.
was about to
Mm-mm.
heave because it just got
Mm-mm.
all warm and you can't make
Yep.
it the way you can at home. So then
Gross.
what's your favorite trail, and you can't say your own brand.
Yeah.
Your
Oh, bummer.
favorite trail snack.
Oh, I mean, going back to like the Colorado Trail again, I don't know why all roads lead there, but even when I did like the Camino de Santiago across Spain,
Yeah.
I love gummies. Like I'll just eat because they're easy to
Yeah.
digest, I think, and they wet your mouth when you're like
Yeah.
high in the alpine desert, like things like that. Like it just keeps a little saliva.
Yeah.
It's chewy. It's whatever. I'll take those all day. For a while, it was the only thing I could eat on the Colorado Trail because the elevation,
Yeah.
10,400 feet, average elevation, like
Yeah.
you lose your appetite anyway, and then you're like, you need to get some sort of calorie.
Yeah.
Gummies.
Yep. That's all I ate was those Nerds gummies when I was
Yeah.
on the Colorado Trail
Yep.
this past summer. I was like, oh, I just want Nerds gummies. And I feel like that's like the trail
Yep.
snack of champions the last
It
like
is.
year or two.
Absolutely. Get a little
Um,
crunch from it.
yeah, oh, so good. I actually used to have a bunch of bags right behind me on the ground.
Nice.
And then my kids took them. They snuck in here and took them from me. I was like, dang it.
Yeah.
All right. Next question is, if you could collab with any brand, who would it be?
Oh, I mean, I have. This is kind of funny because it's not necessarily even a backpacking brand.
Yeah.
Are you familiar with the Montana Knife Company?
Yes. A little bit only
So
because I'm shooting knives now. So
okay, cool. So
yeah.
look them up. Their marketing is amazing. They
Yeah.
do such a good job. They are made in America, like nuts to bolts brand. They have created
Yeah.
like 200 jobs for people in Frenchtown, Montana. They make
Wow.
the highest quality knife I have
Yeah.
ever seen. And like it's surprising to me that like so this is a Montana knife, right? This
Okay.
thing weighs less than an ounce. It's a full tang knife
Oh, wow.
that like any thru hiker should have. And this thing, it'll last a lifetime. They
Yeah,
literally, when they dull, you can send them back to them. They sharpen them and send them back the next day. Like their company motto is used, abused, and passed down, because they want every knife they make to be passed down to the next generation. And I just
that's
love
rad.
I love the messaging there. And
Yeah,
they're an American brand, and like I was saying, that's kind of like important to me. And
yeah,
I just think that their messaging and their brand is like super on point, everything they do.
yeah.
And they've created like such a cool like community around what they do. So
That's
that's one
awesome.
that you probably wouldn't get from many of the other thru hikers
Yeah. No, I've never
that
had
come
that
through
one.
here.
That's
Now,
great. All
well,
right. Next.
out of
No, go ahead.
curiosity, sorry to jump.
Yeah.
What are some of the other brands that people have said?
So it usually ends up being, and I can't remember off the top of my head, but I know it ends up, people usually say it's a brand that they admire,
Yeah.
that they've kind of looked up to, that they're like, oh,
Yeah.
like you said, like, I love their branding, or I love this,
Yeah.
or I've always thought like I could make a tent out of this type of material,
Yeah.
and I totally want to collab with this material, this company, and stuff like that. I mean,
Yeah.
I think, well, I did one for Giant Mouse knives. We had a Giant Mouse on the podcast, and I think they had said he wanted to collab with um a, particular watchmaker, because watches and knives just kind of go in hand
They
for
do.
EDC
Like, it's
guys.
collector, yeah.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
it's
I
really
like that a
cool.
lot. That's cool.
Yeah,
Dan Durston would be the other one, by the way. Dan's awesome.
yeah. Oh, awesome. We're
Good
I'm
guy.
gonna have Dan on. Dan is coming on in a week. So
Oh, cool.
yeah. So
That's
I know
great.
he's Canadian. I'm Canadian. I know we lost in hockey, which is fine.
Oh,
I was rooting for
sorry.
America, so it's okay.
All right. You don't
I'm
have
American
to.
now, so
Okay. Yeah, you can root for
so
both and have a good time.
yeah. Well, I put for spite on Facebook. I said all about America with winning the hockey, and all my Canadian friends were
Yeah.
like unfriending me, and I was like, "Oh, I'm sorry, guys."
Oh, jeez.
All
But
right,
Dan's an
last
awesome
question.
dude.
Yeah, incredible.
Innovator.
And obsessive. I think you could call him like obsessive, right? Which is,
Yeah.
I think, good.
Yeah.
All right. Last question is, last thing you Googled related to your business.
The last thing I Googled related to my business probably would have been, I was probably looking for like recipe inspiration.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
Okay.
mean, I'd be lying if I said that these things just pop in your head. Like
Yeah.
you surf the internet and try to find ideas that you can adapt and make your own. But
Yeah.
I am ready to bring like probably 4 new meals to the market this year. That's the goal.
Awesome.
So I got 2 that are already kind of in the bag, just waiting to have the money to make them.
Yeah.
But when we do, we'll be pretty close there.
That's great. Well,
Yeah.
awesome. Well, thank you, Luke, for being on. I mean, again, I say it with everybody, but I learned so much. And if people are looking for Trail Good Company, where can we find you? What are your socials? Where can they buy your meals? Because I know from traveling, from tasting them, everybody, make sure you get a
Thank you.
4-pack and try them, because they really are really, really good. I wouldn't have people
Appreciate
on
that.
here that I don't necessarily admire or love their products, or as- um, aspire to be like them in some shape or form. So yeah, how can we
Sure,
find you?
man. Appreciate that. It's just trailgoods.co. So pretty easy. And then across all social media, it's just Trail Goods Company. Easy to find.
Okay, perfect.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah. And
Well,
like,
thank you.
I am literally the one that answers everything. So if you ever want to get a hold of me, uh, just send a message. I see it.
That's perfect. Well, thank you so
Yeah.
much, Luke. I appreciate you being on. And everybody, thank you so much for listening. Make sure you like and subscribe if you're on YouTube and all the other platforms. Make sure you subscribe so you can listen to more amazing episodes and awesome companies that we get to chat with. So thanks so much, Luke. Talk to you
You
soon.
got it. Thanks, Craig. It was fun being here.